We're close.
We're missing.
No.
Did I have that?
So do you?
Is he not flat? Is he not?
You should go get water.
I do the exact same thing.
Okay, she'll be back. Okay, let's get started. So we can actually get out of here at 1 o'clock today. I promise. Okay, this is a demonstration of which you will be doing one sometime through the month of June. And we have a page that tells you more about demonstrations that we'll hand out at the end. But Michelle and I decided to choose this. Actually, Molly chose it for us. But then we really liked it. So our demonstration is based on the Global Achievement Gap, which, and a few of you alluded to quite a few things that actually are in this book, because you would say something a while ago when you were giving up your heart attacks, and Michelle and I would look at each other like, hey, that goes along with our demonstration. So I think a lot of you will, it'll light bulb will click on like, hey, we've talked about that already. We also kind of went with the Derby theme because today's Derby Day. Okay, so let's get started. Our demonstration is called Race to be a Triple Crown Teacher. Is the sound turned up? No. Try it again. There we go. Okay, so it's not called to post, but call to order, I guess, for us. Okay? Okay, and they're off. One of the things we want you to do first is get it in your writer's notebook. And part of the writing project is teachers as writers. And I want you to think just a few minutes. I'm going to do a quick write about what characteristics does an employer look for when hiring a new employee, whether it be a teacher or any other profession. But what do you think they're looking for today in the 21st century? And we'll give you a few minutes to write that down. Need lights? You might need lights. Yes?
No, it's okay.
Okay. If you haven't finished that thought. No. The element of surprise. Okay. Pair up with somebody that you haven't talked to today. You haven't actually sat across from and spoken to today. And discuss what you wrote down.
You know what, Mark,
And I kind now, I purchased it, but I don't know what it is. Isn't that one that's kind of like hidden that's right here between one and down there? You want to go and leave it, like if you want to keep going further, be in there. Okay, then that is the one. You can also get to it from the other one by going through. Okay, then I know. I'm ready for the philosophical. I think it employees who have a passion for learning and who, correct my grammar, are willing to try new things to help students be successful. You should have seen me last night. I spent 2 hours writing that email to my principal, where my husband was raised without me, and I checked and rechecked my grammar, and I put it on Word and checked it. I said, you don't understand. She's a language arts major, and I'm applying for a writing position. We don't live till like 30. Well, and that's what, that's one of the things I worry about coming in, and that's one of the things that I've got a problem with, even throughout, even in my student teaching, is teachers who have been doing it a long time, not that they don't know anything, but their way of being
Did a lot of you hear the same qualifications or characteristics that you had that other people had that you talked to? Okay, in your sheet protector there, you have an orange slip of paper, and there's a job on that. I want you to think about that job and think about what you've just written. And do those characteristics still apply? And are there some other characteristics that you would add to be qualified to do that position? Okay? So take just a couple minutes to jot those down.
Which one, Josh?
I'll take whichever one you guys are not fighting over.
I think we should go like this. Horse training. Personal training. Yeah, it was just me training. No, because I was like this big and he was like.
Hey, did you find that you added characteristics, or were many of them similar to what you already had down? A lot of them were similar. What were some of the characteristics that you thought, just overall, that people need to be successful in a job? Flexibility. Passion.
Communication skills.
Knowledgeable. Communication skills. Confidence. Honesty. Organized.
I can't.
Organized. Yes.
The most essential one, I think, the ability to seek and find new knowledge. If you don't know where the bathroom is, you can't pee while you're at work.
You can.
I mean,
That's a lot when I think that right now. So kind of being a have initiative. You know, find things out for yourself. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. Okay.
motivated.
Yeah. So you can use the rest of your turn today.
That's it.
You get to do that as a teacher?
Initiative. That's it. Yeah.
You got to be able to work with other people.
Thank you. Teamwork.
The follow through, Gene, finishing things up and getting it done. I don't know if that's the same as initiative, but you start things, but you also finish them.
Right. Right. Okay. Did any of the qualities change based on the job you had? Okay. You're shaking.
Well,
your head.
in my new job, are you talking about with the addition of the job?
Yes.
I have a lawyer, and I think you need to specifically know legal precedents.
Okay.
You need to be well versed in that, and I think you have to be strong with advocacy issues. And I would even add, depending upon what type of law that is practiced, to some extent, you need to be a piranha. You need to be aggressive. You need to, be able to fight for your client. And I don't know that I think to some extent teachers should be aggressive and fight for their students and what's best for their students, but not to that degree. Not those types of things.
But to a degree, you have to be willing to fight. For
You have to be
everything.
you have to be a student advocate.
Right. Yes.
I had a lot of the communication things before, but the job was a factory worker, so my attention was awareness of surroundings. Because they have to be aware.
Good safety.
And we really do follow directions.
Okay.
I had a quarterback, and I'm not much on sports, so I kind of had to imagine. But I had being a team player was one of those ones, but being able to take direction well and being in shape.
Okay.
But
Well,
also
quarterback needs to
required
also
to
be able to
shape.
give direction.
Yeah. Be a leader.
Be a leader, yeah. Okay, so no matter what job you have, there are a set of skills that you need to walk into the workplace with, no matter what it is. From, a job, working at McDonald's, all the way to being your lawyers and your doctors. Everybody has to walk in with a certain skill set. Okay, today, our essential question is, what should classrooms look like in the 21st century to prepare learners for the workplace? With our new core standards, you know that everything's going to career and college readiness. And we are responsible for getting students prepared from preschool all the way to high school, preparing and making sure at each step of the way we are doing what we need to do to make them successful. And that's when Molly was telling us about this book, The Global Achievement Gap. And in your packet, you have a brochure, and it kind of tells what the global achievement gap is. We talk about achievement gaps all the time in education. What does that mean?
You might have run with your peers or your grade.
Okay.
The difference between where you are and where you should be.
Okay. Okay.
Between ability and achievement.
There's markers like gender, race, socioeconomic status, and there's a disparity.
Right.
Those gaps, you got to close those gaps, right?
And Tony Wagner, the author of this book, he believes that. However, he is going more global now and says, we have a global achievement gap. And in the brochure, I think it's on the center. The global achievement gap is what our best suburban, urban, and rural public schools are teaching and testing versus what all students will need to succeed as learners, workers, and citizens in today's global knowledge economy. Okay, so we're taking it a step further. and saying, okay, what are students leaving our schools not knowing how to do? Whether it be leadership or team building, those types of things.
Okay. And along with this book, there's a really website called the 21st Century Classroom that links to Mr. Wagner's book here. And I thought this was pretty neat. One of the things they had on the website was the 20th century classroom versus the 21st century classroom. USA, 1960s. Typical classroom was teacher-centered, fragmented curriculum, students working in isolation, memorizing facts. Versus today, a classroom that's at the School of Environmental Studies, aka the Zoo School in Minneapolis. A perfect example of real-life, relevant, project-based 21st century education, where it's about the students and what they need to know versus memorizing facts and spitting them back out.
And I think all of us know classrooms that this is still happening in. Okay? And my pastor, been several months ago, did a sermon, and he had this bridge up on the screen, and the water was running beside the bridge instead of under the bridge. And he's like, what's wrong with this? Well, they didn't build the bridge like that. The tsunami hit. The tsunami changed the course of that water, so the bridge was no longer in its place. So the landscape had changed, not the way they built bridges. So our landscape has changed in education. Kids are not, and most of you are younger, but I shouldn't have said that. All of you are younger. Kids have changed from the time when I went to school to now. I mean, they are so much more advanced than we were at their age. So, and I think that's true at every grade level. I mean, first graders are doing stuff we didn't do till third, fourth grade. And it just goes on and on. My daughter in high school, ninth grade, is doing stuff I didn't do until I was a senior in high school or in college. So the landscape has changed in education, and we must be willing to change with it. So that's what I want you to keep in mind.
Okay?
So we're coming around the turn.
Okay. One of the things that we're going to focus on today is the 7 survival skills for every classroom that comes from the Global Achievement Gap. It's in the list, also listed here in the middle of the picture. And look how many of these things are what you guys just said. First, critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration across networks, leading by influence, agility and adaptability, initiative and entrepreneurialism. Hope I said that right. Effective and oral, shouldn't be an and there. Effective oral and written communication, accessing and analyzing information, and curiosity and imagination. And I can remember when I was teaching my 8th graders, I'd be asking them to, teaching American history, all the people that you're talking about are long gone, and you're trying to get them to put themselves in that place and try to think like those people did and understand the people that in American history. And I was just, we don't know. Use your imagination. Just because you're 13 does not mean your imagination has gone away. It's not out of your head. Bring it back. You don't have to be 5 to have imagination. You got to be able to, grow with it, think about it. And sometimes if you explain it that way, it helps a little bit with them. We're going to do something with these. In your folder, you will find a copy of the 7 survival skills for every classroom and a cutout of a horse. So on the dirty thing. The number on the horse is the number of the survival skill that you will be researching. But our research is going to be done right here with that packet. You're not going to go out in the world. Okay? What I need you to do first is find the others that are in your group based on the horse, the number on the horse. That's what you need to do. So get with those people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s, and 7s. 4. Well, Brandon is directing people.
Who's coming or am I going?
Yeah.
So we just need these 2 things?
Anyone else have a
We just need these 2 things?
We we get curiosity in there? Something to write with.
There you go.
Sounds like it's situated.
Oh, but. I think I like pretty.
You were at the wrong school. One half.
I know. I was a county. Yes, I know. Baptism by fire.
When you get to your group, you'll flip over and find the number of the skill that you have.
I'm not sure. Oh, maybe it's just having a right now.
You're gonna take a few minutes and kind of, skim and scan over it, learn about it a little bit while we're here, and then discuss within your group what you think about that particular survival skill. And then you're going to create silks
Or jockeys.
that on there, it shows your understanding of that particular skill and how you think it should be represented.
And somebody has to model the silk.
Yeah, somebody here has to model silk. We've got all kinds of art supplies over here if you want, put crayons and markers and colored paper and glue sticks and all kinds of things to design your silk.
You have about 15 minutes to read and discuss what, discuss it.
Sorry, that was all that was.
Well, as good as I can.
Hey guys, try to hold it down just a little bit. Some of the survival skills are longer than the others.
It feels the other way around. It's just, I have to see Yeah, I know, that's why
Make sure that on your silk, the number of the scale that you have goes on there somewhere. You can use keywords. Make sure
I'm one of those who have
Figure out why things happen.
There isn't one right answer if there are.
This is biased.
We have permanent workers over there.
This is hard.
Guys, I don't think everybody knew. We have supplies and then wood, there are permanent markers, scissors, construction paper,
Multiple choices.
Well, do we want to have the other thing always behind and going behind? Well, what I had was all of this going behind, like, this
I know nothing about and I'm not curious at all. I have no well, I don't do basketball, football, or anything. It's not biased and things like that. So I have kids that so I have kids.
Should we use tournament markers for it?
You want scrapbook paper, John, that whole thing? You can have them in. Pick some up you like.
I'm more of a listener to the NPR person and enjoy the sporting game. Listen to all things.
If I know.
I like your idea about stripes because
Bottle of something over there. Extra something.
Hey, let's do some.
Okay, guys, you got about 20 minutes to finish designing before we start sharing.
It's
What are we gonna cut out of this?
It's not this, it's not so, are we going
Could that be that certainly is a need for
I think our member has to go in the middle though.
Is the change in like.
Take a look at
It's easy just to straight maybe like 2 question marks. Yeah.
I think that's all.
There's your number 1.
See, like,
Maybe we should do
I can cut out a number 1. Yeah, okay.
Do you think we should cover this with the color?
Oh, yeah, she is very colored.
or maybe just write different things inside this section here.
Yeah, we get them with
Born down the
Why is the sky
Yeah, but all my K through 12 years in
But they're not the same.
I think they're all going to.
how do you do things that you've been done before?
we have a hockey and we have a meeting
To represent more hands-on, vertical thinking, style.
Oh no, I'm not I'm on drum. I'm built to drag. I thought I should never do. I built to drag instead of part of it.
Just Google things to figure out what Okay.
And we'll figure it out as we No, more they collaborate.
And then
Like a
at our board.
And that can go
And then right, so we'll just go. Yeah, you're seeing animation equals.
Stand it up on the front.
I need it too.
Oh, okay, here. You'll need it. You'll need the line for this very couple. Okay.
Free tape up there? Take a whip, sometimes ink pens. Take one.
think outside, say connect your dots.
We hit that nuance, get characteristics of the trademark rank. So we're going to do that left here and then right here. Next bullet.
We did a liquid time for discussion.
Yeah, left, like right, left, ahead of the left, and then right, left, We'll make it work.
When I saw the permanent marker, I was like,
Gradually organized, all the people, overachievers. Whatever we are,
The original.
gradually organized.
Have confidence. He's on it.
So, this is right there in the 21st century.
Are you good?
Once it, because the computer, I can't spell out my brain won't write it.
I was gonna do like bring, right, I was gonna school for a minute,
He thinks it's hay.
Analyze the system out of curiosity, not necessity.
Just so you know. That
Yes, I've got this.
Thank you. We play my Kentucky Home.
Really? Oh, good.
I can turn on my phone. Oops.
I don't think.
As you create your
So we need this background, all the different things and all the things.
It's not the old, the employer determines what job
And we
is.
have
It's
this
really
these
the
different ways
employer.
to get the
Change one job.
Take a
Two
different
jobs
path.
fit themselves. The employers, no longer the employers define the
I guess so. Maybe I'm looking at blue stick.
or the task of the I like that. Good. Correct. Effective.
It's just.
Create your own work.
So we're gonna write questions with lots of
Their own work. That says what they create their work.
Well, what's going on?
What we just do, like, there must be a definition done of that.
I've always
Yeah, what
You can blame it on our project.
I'm like,
I said I need my blue. Put everything on
use it on the walls.
I put posters on the walls.
Do the jails like that.
And they're not looking at that. You're not. Oh,
I'm not really like it. So let's put in the middle. We could write
you break them all.
Well, what I was going to do is have the, right back to
Other stuff on this is going to distract them. I'm not even sure that those are
Okay, guys, you have about 10 minutes to finish up.
I don't know the word for it.
Scrapbook.
Okay, scrapbook.
Who's going to start manufacturing?
No. Oh, there it is.
You know, when we have
I have
thinking outside the box.
So now they're going to pop down. Okay, perfect. That's right. I did a sweeping generalization.
Now have to change that.
those wires. All of them, that one you just passed was all black. Green, that's me.
But you'll get you along.
Yes.
I'm colorful. So this is very colorful. This right here.
And then all here, the non-examples. So the magnifying glass is just on the spectrum. And out here will be all the non-examples. Well, there's the, money there. And then I was going to we have black Sharpie they're willing to give up? Would you like a purple Sharpie to replace it?
Go, John.
The Starburst, first the new ideas. I suppose you could do they need to kind of be falling maybe just indiscriminately
Sticking overachiever.
Tell us what it is.
The graphical
We just got
Draw a baby because that's how they think is why.
That's part of action research.
Or like draw it here.
I know, but we did curiosity, imagination, and we didn't display it in the imagination. I don't want to cover this stuff.
Plans were born and moved Paisley and Hudson. Paisley run it together.
Okay, 5 minutes.
Not overachievers. Small way.
stick that in here, or is that
Somebody brings me like.
on this comes all these other little
I got this top here.
But yours is more. I just wondered if
Good ideas for different topics.
They may look different, but they're the same thing.
All right.
They give you something, so you see. Right call. I'm good. Are you good, man? I didn't know it's recording of it.
Keep getting here.
That's 3
It's said in a fundamental.
I don't have any anymore. It's still over there.
We apologize, we should have talked to her right.
That's right.
You like my notebook, don't you? I can tell you're mesmerized by it.
I'm trying to think of what to put here. And if we, I think it's young children are better at this skills than adults are. Because they have to figure out a lot of things on their own, how to do things.
You know, we're supervisors to take control.
Okay.
Choose to represent all. You want to put it down here for you or in the
Right.
You'll be the model. You'll be like our teacher. Right there.
You like it?
Wow.
You need to do it's not a party.
No, I don't have that.
Oh, yeah.
Where?
What if?
Yeah, but it's about 30 seconds for them. Call it for the
Because that wasn't that the song that we're trying to get?
Yeah, because see, if you had 10 interactions when we total them, or positive, 10 divided by 2 is 5.
Hey, you're in your final minute.
It has to be really I know. Yeah.
Who's still wet?
The perfectionist in me. That's exactly what
I've got my derby shirt on. It was God and good from Churchill Downs.
Really?
Ready to go, number one.
Okay, are we ready?
Somebody's going to.
We'll go last.
Laura, would you want to do a color? Whatever.
Now there's real teamwork going.
We borrowed groups.
They borrow people from another group.
Yeah. Okay.
like you can stop that way. So this way to work. Let me turn the music off.
Yeah, they recruited us.
A junkie can't do what?
Can you have candy hanging off over the session?
Carrot candy. Said carrot candy.
It's treats for the horse. Can horses have chocolate? Dogs can. I was gonna say mine love chocolate. Dogs can, but they have. Okay, thanks. Okay, are you at a point where you can listen?
Yes.
All right. We're going to let group number one. Let's take this learning.
Okay, we had critical thinking and problem solving skills. So we really wanted you all to think about our silk. And I think this represents that there are different ways of doing things and still, get a good result. You can go the straight way or you can go the crooked way.
Although we have recommend the non-linear way.
It might take a little longer, but it's more fun. So, we had questions like why, and then the answer why not. What am I making? The candy represents.
When you start to unpack ideas, you're never sure just what the applications will be. They come out in different shapes and forms and different positions. Especially when you team as we have. And this has been a collaborative effort that simply evolved. There was no master plan. We just kept asking questions and trying to solve problems all the time. You can tell.
Our one is kind of sideways because maybe things don't have to always be done the way they've been done before.
Problems change and approaches to problems need to change. And so that's why change is the whole thing. We no longer have supervisors that take control. This is what happens when you, I guess, get out of the central bureaucracy and let the individual cells have their own doing. You never know what you're going to get. And that's the fun of life, right? You really reinvent yourself. You are reinventing ourselves. So think critically is our big message.
Okay, where's number two? Y'all ready? I got a photo finish. Sorry, everything.
The skill that we had was collaboration across networks and leading by influence. And our section was talking about how a lot of times now we have virtual teams and not actual physical teams anymore. And what they were figuring out in corporate America is that people didn't know how to interact when there was a virtual team and not physical people. So the hierarchy of leadership has changed to something that's more fluid. The idea of leadership has changed. So we have this image of water here because it was talking about how now you lead by influence.
So the old leadership would be this vote on the top where you had a definite person in charge, the definite go-to person for everything. They told you what to do, and that's why you did it. It's because you were told. And now instead we have this, the new leadership is more by influence. Can you influence people to do what you need to do if you have several different buildings, several different networks that you have to operate through? And that's one of the skills that youth were missing out on quite a bit because they didn't know how to lead people without just telling them. Okay, I think I'm missing out on something.
And our shield is a combination of, I think, with the whole concept is we have our collaboration on top, and within that is leadership, and these are 4 hallmarks that I believe should be a part of any leadership organization: leadership, service, fellowship, and scholarship. And once they work together in a collaborative effort, then you can sail anywhere, do anything.
Okay, we had agility and adaptability, and I'll start right here because that's us and our students. We're either laughing or screaming. Not sure which yet. You've got all this information flowing at you, different types of information from different places. You have to be agile and you have to be adaptable to it. We picked the tightrope walker because it's someone who has to remain agile no matter if they get a little off balance, they have to slow and steady themselves and get themselves back on track, whatever that may be. And then, of course, the chameleon adapts to its environment. As the environment changes, it changes as needed to survive in that environment. Our section talked a lot about the tools, knowing the tools that you can use to adapt, be willing to try new tools, new different ways. A lot of ours was about not being afraid, because when you're afraid, that's when the tightrope walker is going to just fall off. And then ours also talked about how to any question there may not be one specific answer, there may be many correct answers, and just how things change, you have to be able to adapt to them. That's pretty much it.
Okay, what we took from what we read is more what qualities and qualifications maybe that different businesses are looking for in their leaders. And so that's kind of the theme we went with ours. The team influence, like continuity and finding, growing, retaining, which all are also educational concepts, risk-taking, having creative solutions. And one of the things that I think I have trouble with, and that's sort of our theme with our big title, is influence them to do what you want them to do rather than leading them by saying, okay, here we are, do it. And trying to find some kind of influence, some kind of connection to them.
That's why we changed it to team influence instead of team leader.
Okay. Ours talked about a big problem in the workplace. They interviewed lots of people and did surveys that people, students, job seekers, employees are missing both written and oral communication skills. And then this was one person's solution: teach them to write effectively so they can communicate with other people. So the writing and the oral communication.
And then we picked out about 5 main skills that we really need to teach our students so that they can be better communicators. And these are focus, energy, and passion in their writing, as well as presenting their points clear and concisely, and writing with a real voice. Those are all 5 ways that we can help solve the problem of poor communication.
Well, ours is the sixth important thing, and survival skill, and it's finding important information. So,
It's accessing and analyzing information. We have all kinds of access. I mean, it's like going from Save-A-Lot to Kroger, you know? You've got a couple choices on corn at Save-A-Lot. You got a plethora of choices at Kroger. And so on the internet, we have lots of choices. We want them to be able to analyze and just focus in on the important things. Are they accurate? Is it verifiable? Is it applicable? So, you know, we have all these other things on the outside that you don't need to focus on, whether they're biased or, you know, so. the
unimportant
focus-
or
Yeah, not important.
distracting.
We have a magnifying glass to focus in on the important things to analyze.
And that's what we've got to teach them to use. We've got to teach those skills in the classroom. Those are definitely going to be 21st century skills that we've got to bring into
To discern the good from the bad information out there.
Yeah, they have to be able to.
We're overwhelmed, bombarded by information.
They think if they read on the internet, it's got it correct.
Yeah. And there was a great example in the reading, which you know, but those of you who didn't read that part, of kids investigating Martin Luther King's life, his biography for his holiday, and coming up with a website designed to target kids, and it was a white supremacist website. Was just horrifying. So, you know, making sure that they can see the truth from all the babble.
They can pick it apart.
Ready?
Yep.
All right, we were curiosity and imagination, of course. This is a non-example. Okay? You all were very creative and imaginative, and we weren't. We were just, and that's exactly what ours is, imagination. We didn't use ours at all.
And non-examples are good best practice skills.
Not really on purpose, but I come up with that at the last minute. I scratched. Someone was presenting, and I scratched it on paper to her. She goes. But no, we thought the information was very important. The fact, and a lot of it had to do with what we had said on paper before when we were looking at skills essential for the workplace. And in the article it said that creativity and innovation is the key to problems and products in the 21st century, which is what we're working on getting our students ready for that 21st century workplace. And the necessary is to be left and right brain. You cannot just be in one domain and be an effective, irreplaceable employee. If you are stagnant in one or the other, then you are just a cog in the machine that is replaceable. If you can do maybe some kind of fraction, I'm not a math person, do a little bit of fraction in here, you'd be a lot better off. And the analyzing a system, that is good. If you can analyze something, that's great. And if you only analyze it and look at it, and when it's broken, you're not creative, you're not imaginative. If you're curious while the system's working, you think, well, how can this skill be better? And I'm not talking about doing 8 Kiras in 10 years, but that's Kira, right? You all know Kira. No one laughed, so I didn't know. But it says that if the system is functioning and you still analyze it, that is a good sign of an employee in the 21st century, that you make sure that you're still making sure that your brain is working on efficient processes. And employers, this is the most important thing we found. Employers no longer define the task of the employee. The employees, by being left in right brain, they define the position so that you're not a replaceable cog in a machine. Because if you can problem solve while things are still good, I mean, you can create your own job. It's not sales or services, it's Brandon. Hey, go to Brandon, he can help you, instead of, hey, go to the sales guy. And for example, my grandfather is working at a plant right now that they sold out to Mexico, and they're moving there. They moved most of the machines He does not have a college degree, my grandfather. 64, no college degree, and they call him at 12 o'clock at night on his cell phone and ask him how to fix the machines in Mexico because they don't know how. They have degrees, people with degrees down there. But he defined who he was in his job. He knew those machines, he knew that factory. So they want to fly him down to Mexico and he won't go. He's not going to go. That's Joe. It's not the repairman, it's Joe. You call Joe, you go to Joe when you have a problem. So what he did was he defined himself. And that's the key to being successful in the 21st century.
And when you define yourself, it makes it more artistic. Guys,
And we're going to keep these, we decorate our room all summer long with things that we do from different demonstrations, and so these will be hanging out there. That will be in the summer.
okay, if you will dig out your writer's notebook from underneath all the crafty stuff. So far today we've had you as teachers as writers, teachers as researchers, and the third link as we come down to the finish is teachers as teachers of teachers, which is what you will be when you go do your demonstration here, and then when you go back to your schools in the fall or the spring of next year and do your PD whenever they, put you on the schedule to do your PD. But we want you to think right about for just a minute about what kind of teacher will you be? Will you be on the merry-go-round where you're just going around and around and around, nothing ever changes, not doing anything? Or will you be in the winner's circle, racing on into the future to change things and do things in the 21st century that your students need? Right to right down. Okay. Anybody want to share your thoughts?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, 3 sentences. I will not be stagnant. I will not mold. I will not reinvent the wheel either.
Okay. You don't have to reinvent the wheel because you've got all these other people now you can share with and steal from, liberate, borrow, whatever you want to call it. Anybody else? Sarah?
I put I will be a flexible yet independent teacher. I will keep up with new standards, content, technology ideas that will make me a better teacher. I will take my new information and make it my own and build upon it each time I teach it to make sure that not only will I make it to the winner's circle, but my students will too. Laura?
But I want to maintain the focus I had as a new teacher out of college on the skills that I used in college that I wasn't necessarily always taught as a student, you know, in K through 12. So, and I really had that focus when I came out of college, but you know how it is, the more the years go by, you get used to doing things a certain way, and I want to maybe return to and stay focused on those practical skills.
Anybody else?
I think synergy is something that we should seek rather than expert opinion, and help other teachers in problem-solving things together, collaborating.
Teamwork goes a long way.
I think one of the big frustrations that I see as a teacher is teachers who get so bogged down in trying to document and meet all of the goals of paperwork that it just seems almost impossible to actually be creative. And I think probably that's one of my biggest stressors is meeting the needs of all the documentation that we have to do and still being inspiring. Oh my gosh, it's just unbelievable. And so my winner's circle is to still feel inspired and to be an inspiration with the ideas that I have, in spite of all of the round and round and round and round and round that you have to go.
Well, you know, there are people that you know, probably everybody in here knows someone who is that person that's around and they never change anything. They do exactly the same thing, exactly the same time of the year, every year.
And that's where I went with mine. I was thinking forward too when we have to do the PDs and trying to get a buy-in on doing something that will take you finish
get out of
that.
that hole.
Yeah.
Well, and you can see, you can understand why people don't want to have to change stuff, because it's just so much more work, and you've got to document it, and then you've got all this new stuff you've got to come up with. And I think, really the environment is such that it creates, we can very easily create an environment where it's just too much work to do. And I think
Well, these new standards.
and the standards are kind of overwhelming. We've got to document all that. And I think probably one of the things that I'm surprised that it's real clear to me, but I really do think that that our group, this 26th group, as we come out and try to tackle those new standards and all of the new things that we're trying to integrate. My school's going through its own standard setting process right now, and all of that. I just think, to be positive and to have the new ideas and to say, to be a force for, to be the person who's optimistic. And that's tough, but I think that's part of the things that we can get done this summer, perhaps.
Okay. Also in your packet, you have formulas like this. And on the front of it, you can just put Michelle and Cindy or Cindy and Michelle. And then on the inside, and you'll do this after every single demo.
Yes, we do this every time.
Every time. Every time.
Same one, every time.
Yes, yes. It's your feedback to the people who are doing the demonstration. And you don't have to write something with every single one. Or you can even change it a little bit. There's, if something doesn't go with what you're thinking, like you want to tell us, then change it. But you're going to give these to us. And then Molly's got some talking to do in just a few minutes too.